What a week last week was for tips. And we got the Liverpool 5-0 scoreline correct in the thumbnail. That was jokes. We had the highest ever valued individual tip on the Full 90 channel come in last week with Ben Chilwell to score. And also we had Liverpool to win and Mo Salah to score. I said they'd score 3 goals away from home, and if they do, Salah would score one of them. They went 3-0 up with Salah scoring the third, and then he thought he'd add 2 more for good measure. But what a week for tips. Crystal Palace didn't even beat Newcastle, but the tip of their highest scoring half to be the second half still came in at 2.3, which I thought was awesome. Man City at -1 handicap for 2.2. Both teams to score in the Brentford Leicester game, and Wolves not to lose with under 3.5 goals. It was a great week for tips, and also a great week for support from you lot, as we're very, very close now to 18,000 subscribers, going up another 100 since the last video. So if you are new around here, you want to be keeping up to date with my tips and predictions, then be sure to subscribe down below, drop a like as well, and leave your predictions down in the comments as well, as I read all of them. So let's delay no further. Kicking it off, we do have Leicester up against Arsenal. I think this is going to be a very, very tricky game to predict. At the time of recording, Leicester are playing tonight against Brighton in the Carabao Cup, and I do think even with a rotated squad, they will be able to win that game against Brighton. Arsenal just came off of a win against Leeds, 2-0 in the Carabao Cup, to see them go into the quarterfinals. Arsenal are yet to lose or haven't lost in their last 6 games, and Leicester have strung a really good run of results together. They had, like Chelsea did at the Brentford Community Stadium, they had a barrage of attacks from Brentford, but they were able to walk away with an away win by 1 goal. So a fantastic result to them, and they're going back to the King Power Stadium where they do perform fairly well. I think this is going to be a very difficult game to call. If I had to pick a winner, I'd probably say Leicester, but given the form Arsenal have been in, I don't see it. Leicester have drawn 2-2 a lot this season. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, but my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.66. I really think that's going to happen with the way Leicester have been defending this season. Now, next up, we are going to Turf Moor with Burnley up against Brentford. Burnley winless this season, able to get a 2-2 draw against Southampton. Maxwell Cornet is back scoring goals again. He seems to be their lease of life. If they're going to stay up, it will be because of the contributions that he makes. But I do think Brentford are going to get an away win. I don't think they haven't lost any away games this season, and I'm going to go for a Brentford away win, 2-1. My tip is Brentford to win at 2.6. You know, I didn't tip it last week when I thought they'd beat Leicester. I erred on the side of caution and went with both teams to score, which came in. But this week, I'm more confident that they're going to be able to go away from home and get the win against Burnley. After that, we have Liverpool up against Brighton. Liverpool in phenomenal form. Brighton, they're not doing too badly. They took a little bit of a beating against Manchester City, but that was to be expected. I predicted them to lose by 3 goals in that game week, and they did. So I'm not particularly surprised by that at all. I think Liverpool are going to win this one convincingly, but I am going to give Brighton a goal. They managed to score against Man City, and actually, I look at it now and I realise I've gone for the exact same scoreline as they got against Manchester City. I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Liverpool, and my tip is going to be Liverpool to score in both halves at 1.83. They're scoring tons of goals. They'll score in the first half, they'll score in the second half, and I think the value is decent. And that way, the result doesn't even have to go your way. Brighton could win 8-2. And Liverpool, this tip could still come in. So there you go, 4-1 to Liverpool for that one. Next up, we have Manchester City up against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, although they're lower in the table, they've looked like they've played better football this season. However, they can't seem to get those wins. They've drawn their last 4 games, and Manchester City look unbelievable. I'm going to go for a 5-1 win to Manchester City. I'll give Palace the goal. City conceded a reckless penalty to Brighton, and Palace, they have been scoring in their recent games, so I'll give them 1 at the Etihad, maybe even to take the lead as a little bit of a shock, and then Man City to just go full force and just completely obliterate them. 5-1. My tip, it was difficult to find value here. I'm going to go for Manchester City half-time, Manchester City full-time, so they have to be winning at half-time and then win the game, of course, and that's at 1.66, which isn't too bad. After that, we have Newcastle up against Chelsea. This is going to be a very straightforward one for me. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Chelsea win. Their defense has looked good, their attack has looked good, and nothing looks like they can stop Chelsea, unless it's the Carabao Cup, because they keep going to penalties in the Carabao Cup, but still doing the business. So yeah, a 3-0 win to Chelsea, and my tip is going to be Chelsea to win to 0 at 2.2. Not Chelsea to win 2-0, to 2-0, to not concede, basically, because recently, you know, it's been a good tip to go for Chelsea to win and under X amount of goals, but with the 7-0 against Norwich, I think it's probably safer actually to go for win to 0, because they could score 5 here against Newcastle, but I don't see Newcastle scoring, although Callum Wilson has been scoring the odd goal here and there. I think Chelsea's defence is the next level above what Newcastle have been playing recently, so I think Chelsea will get the job done. After that, we have Watford up against Southampton. Southampton, an entertaining draw against Burnley, 2-2. And Watford, the coupon killer, beating Everton 5-2 thanks to a Josh King hat-trick. Absolutely incredible performance. I think they've got that new lease of life. Southampton will not want to lose against Watford, regardless of that previous last week's result. It's Watford. Southampton won't want to lose. I think it's going to be end-to-end. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw again, and my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.7. I really, really like that value for Watford and Southampton, teams that had 11 goals in their 2 games last week. I think both teams to score is almost a banker, I would say. Now, after that, we have a massive game. Tottenham up against Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still in the job after the Liverpool beating. I mean, I was confident in last week's video. I said Salah would score. I said Liverpool would win. A lot of people, for some reason, were looking at that game and saying, I think it'll be a draw. It's a derby. I think Man United, they're going to pull it out of the back. There's no way they were ever going to draw that game. And I know it's like hindsight is 2020 sort of thing, but I predicted it beforehand and I stand by it. Man United were never, ever in with a chance of winning that game. Ronaldo or no Ronaldo, they were never going to win. However, Tottenham, they're weirdly quite high up in the table. They've been quite fortunate with some results this season. I will say that. I think Man United are just going to get an away win. I have a funny feeling this time round, Tottenham aren't Liverpool. I think Man United are just going to get a win. So I'm going to go for the 2-1 win to Manchester United. And my tip is Man United draw no bet at 1.72. If it is a draw, which it very well could be, you get your money back. But I think Man United, they're better than Tottenham. They are, even with the problems they have. And I don't see Tottenham winning this game. Now, after that, we have Norwich up against Leeds. Norwich are the league's whipping boys, and Leeds need a result badly. They're out of the Carabao Cup, and they've only beaten Watford this season. Well, we'll do you one better. We'll give you Norwich. I am actually going to tip Norwich to score, which I haven't done in a long time. Let's see the last time I tipped Norwich to score. Okay, I didn't tip them to score against Chelsea, didn't tip them to score against Brighton, didn't tip them to score against Burnley. We really have to go back all the way. Didn't tip them to score against Everton. So I'm yet to tip Norwich to score a goal this season. And I'm doing it today because that's how bad Leeds have been. So yeah, I'm predicting Norwich to score their first goal. Well, in my predictions, they've scored a couple of goals, of course, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Leeds. Leeds should definitely win this game. Norwich look terrible, as I've said, by saying that in 5 weeks of prediction videos, this is my first goal I've given them, let alone point. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Leeds. In case Norwich don't score, my tip is going to be Leeds to win at 2.05. Norwich could go and win this. They could do a Watford-Everton. They will fancy their chances, and that is why I'm giving them a goal. But Leeds, if they weren't in such a dire position, maybe I'd consider an upset. But Leeds really need this win, so I'm going to give it to them 2-1. Now, after that, we have Aston Villa up against West Ham. I see so much value in this game. Aston Villa, they were outplayed by Arsenal. Arsenal looked really good. Aston Villa didn't look good. And West Ham, they looked good against Tottenham. They got the job done. They got the 1-0 win thanks to Angelo Ogbonna. And I think West Ham are going to win here. I'm going to give Aston Villa a goal. West Ham to win 3-1. And my tip is West Ham to win at 2.45. I mean, that is phenomenal. You could chuck draw no bet in there. You could chuck double chance in there if you want to be really safe. Aston Villa are not going to beat this West Ham side. West Ham are looking really, really good this season. So I'm going to go for the West Ham win at 2.45. And the final game, it is Wolves up against Everton. Wolves, a late goal conceded from a Leeds penalty. And Everton just came off the back of a massive 5-2 defeat to Watford. It's going to be very difficult for me to separate these two teams at Molineux. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and my tip is an interesting one. My tip is draw at halftime at 2.0. Wolves have been drawing 2 of their last 3 games at halftime, and the game that they didn't draw at halftime, they drew at full time. And Everton have also been drawing their last 2 games at halftime. Even when they lost 5-2 to Watford, they were still drawing at the halftime whistle. So both these teams, I think it's going to be low scoring anyway, and a low scoring game lends itself well to a draw at halftime or a draw at full-time tip. So I think they're just going to feel each other out, see how it's going to go, because there's no way to know how it's going to go after you come off of a 5-2 loss to Watford. So I think it's going to be a cagey affair. I could see both teams scoring, but I'm just going to assume that it will be a draw at halftime like it has been for the majority of the recent fixtures for these two teams. So that is going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like on it, subscribe as well so you don't miss any future videos. We can get to 18,000 subscribers maybe in the next week or two. That would be awesome. And yeah, I will see you in the next video, which I think might be a Champions League predictions video very soon.